Okay, welcome to week 3. As you can see, the to-do list for week 3 has been updated. There are 3 modules and 3 associated homework assignments for the week, your usual check-in, and then I also recommend that you check out the practice quizzes. At least look at where they're located and maybe open one up to see what's in it. This is a good idea to do in advance so you know what you're working towards. Again, all of the materials linked to up here is exactly the same thing as if you scroll down to the modules at the bottom. So we're in week 3, due September 7th, 8 a.m., and there are 3 modules and homework assignments associated with each module. And then, as I said, it's worth looking ahead to upcoming quizzes just to get a sense of what they look like. So let's click on a sample one. What you'll find here is not the actual quiz, but materials related to the quiz. So here's information about that quiz and then some practice stuff. If you click on the Google Doc, you'll be asked to make your own copy of a practice quiz, but here's a PDF. And notice there are solutions linked in the PDF as well as in Canvas. And maybe just skim the kinds of questions that are on the exam so you know what to expect in a week or 2 or however many for each of these quizzes. Okay, so again, we've got 3 sections. Let's just go through them in order. The first section is on the language of argument. This is a module we're going to cover in 1 week, and our learning objectives are at the top. As usual, I've provided some advice for going through the material as efficiently and effectively as possible. So I recommend that you do read the text and maybe start by reading it as efficiently as you can, and then trying a few practice exercises, and then maybe taking a stab at the homework. And then after you've attempted the homework, and maybe even submit that first attempt, see what you need to go back and look at in more detail. So again, we've got textbook, practice exercises. These videos, well, I guess there's only 1 this week, are entirely optional. Oh wait, this is a playlist. There are 5 videos. So if you click on it, there are a bunch of lecture videos for this week's material, and they are totally optional. And likewise, the practice exercises down here are essentially the same as the ones here, and do some to test yourself, but remember that your goal is to demonstrate you've achieved the learning objectives, and there will be more material in any given module than you'll probably need. So that's the first unit. The next unit on our agenda for this week is translations. We'll be translating statements and eventually arguments from ordinary English into a precise symbolic notation. This is a module we're going to be working with for 3 weeks. And for the first week, you have a specific to-do list. It's broken down by what you should do for each week. So you can definitely work ahead here. But for this week, your task is to achieve learning objective 1. So you should know what an atomic and a compound statement is and what a truth functional operator is and be able to identify them. I definitely recommend reading the text for this one. Read pages 1 through 7 of the text, and I've highlighted that as important for this section of the module. And then look at and maybe make your first attempt at the homework. And then do some practice exercises and finish up the homework. As for practice exercises, there is a practice packet that is basically a printer-friendly version of all of the worksheets for this module. If you have a printer, it might be a good idea to just print this whole packet and use this as how you study. As a general rule for Unit 2.2 translations, but also for all of the logic modules, you're going to want to do more practice exercises than just the homework. So even if you're feeling comfortable with the homework, you're probably going to want to do a little more practice than that. So choose practice exercises relevant to the goal for the week, and then practice at the level that feels difficult to you. This will be especially true in future weeks where you should be doing more practice exercises than just the homework. This first week, hopefully, should be pretty straightforward. Not easy, but straightforward. So that's Module 2, translations. And then your third module for the week is back to cognitive biases, which we started last week. Last week, our goal was to introduce this idea that we have two systems of thinking, fast and slow, and to introduce our definitions of bias, cognitive heuristic. We're now going to move into the second major part of the text, which is where we look at specific cognitive biases, and we're going to focus on 8 of them, even though there are tons we could have chosen from. So last week, you completed this list. So for week 3, your goal is to make progress on achieving learning objective 4. Again, make progress on being able to define and explain each of our 8 cognitive biases. So to do this, you should definitely read the text. This was one where the text is important. It's kind of long, but as you'll see, it's broken up one bias at a time, and a lot of it is examples, so it's not heavy reading. And the homework for week 3 is going to be essentially matching definitions of these biases with the name, and then being able to match the bias with examples of it, where those examples are drawn from the text or are very, very similar to the ones drawn from the text. So that is our goal for week 3. In later weeks, we'll start looking at passages and going further and being able to analyze the passage and identify potential cognitive biases and be able to explain why you think they're there in an extended short answer way instead of multiple choice. Okay, so that is our overview of your 3 modules for the week, and you have 1 homework assignment associated with each module, and then as usual, when you're finished, complete your week 3 check-in. I look forward to hearing from you in Pronto and in your week 3 check-ins.